Good evening and welcome to the October meeting of the Development Review Board for the town of Richmond. Is anybody out there?
Hello.
So far, all quiet.
Okay, then I don't have to tell people that they need to make their presence known. Okay, first thing on the agenda. Matt Parisi.
Thank you.
Let me finish.
Sure.
It's SUB 2024-03 at 114 East Main Street. It's for a preliminary approval for a proposed 3-lot subdivision, residential subdivision containing an pre-existing duplex, a pre-existing single-family home, and common land. Matt, why don't you tell us what you have in mind here?
So I think,
Good one to pull something up for you, man.
yeah, can you pull up the site plan first?
Yeah. Want just a site plan?
Yeah, but make sure it's the one that has, I think you had two
Master
of them.
development plan.
Yeah,
site
oh.
plan.
I just realized, sorry, I'm sorry. Master development plan, that's the one you want.
Okay, that's the third one you had.
Zoom in once more, I bet, and you get just a little bit more of it now. There, that's. All right, so, last year,
So just to be clear, you're not screen sharing?
Okay, yeah. Well, there isn't anybody else on there to screen share too, so but hang on.
So
here
the
a minute.
recording though will have it?
That better?
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead, man.
So it was initially an older single-family home on this lot. We bought it 4 years ago, turned it into a duplex. I used to live out front. My in-laws still do. We have some tenants in the top. It's a top-bottom duplex out front. Last year, the zoning was changed so you could add a second primary building, essentially a third unit to the property. We built that and finished this in June of 24. And we're essentially doing this not to try to be able to build more houses here or do anything like that, but we're just trying to separate ownership. So my wife and I own the back house and we share the front duplex with my in-laws trust. And then there's the common land shared as well. So it's not, it's kind of a weird way to do a PUD because we're not actually proposing any development. It's all been built already. We're basically just trying to make it so that we can actually legally separate ownership of the buildings. What else here? I think, yeah, all the setbacks are good except for the original home never meets the modern setbacks because it was built whatever in the early 1900s, and it's right on Route 2 as every other house is on East Main. What else? There's nothing basically. Why don't you go to your notes actually too, if you can? That way we can go up.
Where do you want to be, Matt?
I want to go back down to the bottom of your notes there because I think that is going to be where most of the
Right,
questions,
right here.
yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, yeah, I think to get into this, so we're not essentially planning to change anything to this because the buildings are already built, everything's already done. And we're just trying to essentially separate ownership, as I mentioned. So there is no landscaping plan for the project. I think similar to Gary's in that way that the town doesn't provide for like a minor subdivision application, as opposed everything is a major subdivision or plan unit development. So there's no landscaping plan for the project. We've been working with the neighbors already because people were worried about stormwater runoff. So we added gutters to the building, and they go to two huge dry wells, which we can go back to the map there, the site plan. It's kind of hard to see them right here. If you on the southwest corner there, you can see a dry well that's about 12 by 12 by about 12 feet deep, lined with filter fabric and then filled with crushed stone. We got deep enough so we actually got below the clay layer there. The clay is about anywhere from 5 to 15 feet deep. And then after that, it's like perfect sand, you know. So that drains really, really well. And so the long side of the building there, as you can see, that roof drains onto the drains down into a 4-inch pipe that then drains into that dry well. And then the smaller roof all the way on the eastern side there drains down into a 4-inch drain and then goes to a smaller dry well. It's about, what was it, 5 by 6 by 8 feet deep. So that has significantly helped with the runoff concerns there that other neighbors had. We also, there's a 4-foot, 8-inch drip edge of crushed stone and filter fabric around the entire building. And then we also established 2 swales that both of them on the west side and the east side go into those dry wells. They kind of, it's all graded so that everything drains into those dry wells. In essence, it's actually better than it was before because it used to just all sheet flow, down to the backyard there.
Were those dry wells there in July when we had that last?
Yes, they were, but the gutters were not.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't overfill the dry wells, but the without having gutters, we still had a lot of sheet flow from the roof and then onto the ground.
But they handled that water from July?
They handled most of it. They didn't handle all of it. It's I'm still working with the neighbor Jason. He's in the blue house. I don't know the address. Actually, where's the abutters list?
What's the address of your place? I just don't know where we are on East Main.
So this is 112 East Main Street.
Okay.
And then the new building is called 114 East Main Street. That's the address, the E911 address. So yeah, where is it? Jason, is he technically not an abutter to me?
I thought his name was on that list.
I thought he
I
was
don't
on.
see him on here.
Yeah, I guess he's technically not an abutter to me, but I've been working with him because we were kind of at a cross section with 4 different properties there. Danielle Morin, Don Morin, and then Jason, but he, I guess, is technically not there. Anyways, him and I have been working together. I think we're going to build a slightly bigger berm to try to shuttle it down. Don Morin, when he built Danielle's house, built a big swale as well. So that's on the southwest side here, kind of right at the corner of the property boundary. That's where we're going to extend it at some point. Her shed is there, and then his property, I'll just go up there. Actually, it's easier. His property is right here. And so the swale goes all the way from here, and then obviously some of it goes into there. And then Don's swale picks up here that goes down to the street. And we're going to probably make this a little bit bigger, him and I. But that has dealt with most of the stormwater. A lot of the stormwater problems we get is coming off Route 2 though there, because there's only one big stormwater drain actually. And the state, when they came through, they were supposed to rebuild it all. And I mean, that's another debate that the town had with them, I know. So that's part of that problem as well. Why don't we go back to the staff notes? Go down our list there. Yeah, so there's no official stormwater plan. Again, it's handled most of what we've had there. Generally speaking, kind of just working with all the neighbors there to make everyone happy has kind of been the way that we've gone about it.
The neighbors all got notice of this hearing, right?
Yes, they all did.
And then, the easement widths, if you put it to scale, they're 5 feet.
Yeah.
You can, if you
Yeah, I couldn't see it well enough to be able.
Right.
I know that's less to do with you and more to do with the fact that you're cramming a lot on.
Yeah, so the easement widths for the forced main and the water and the electrical and telecommunications lines is 5 feet each one.
Do you have the driveway one noted on here?
The driveway,
Easement to get to here?
that's common land.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything but the buildings is common land. And the only reason we have the easements there is in case we ever have to dig up
So
the
they're what we call footprint lots.
footprint lots, exactly. What else was on your notes there, Tyler?
Let me see here.
I can pull them up myself too.
No.
So, grading. Yes, you wanted to, we could make that change for the final. I know there's another final meeting I would have to come through to get this fully approved. I could have him show that, you want the increments on the scale?
Yeah, it's noted it's
show-
in 310.8, which notes. 310.2.8 is contour lines at intervals of 20 feet of existing grades.
Okay, so you,
That's a hard a lot of these things too, these are hard requirements of stuff that's supposed to be on a plat for preliminary or final, so this isn't necessarily like discretional stuff, it's stuff that has to be on a plat.
so just so I'm clear when I'm talking to
Plan
him,
set, excuse me, for in this case.
when I'm trying to be clear to show him
Mhm.
what the changes need to be made, what I can see right now, his increments, he goes 490, then 491, then 492, 493.
Okay.
So he's in like 1 foot increments
Okay,
actually.
so I didn't even see those on here.
Okay,
So we might be okay,
okay.
because no offense, it kind of got.
Well, and that's
shuffled a
something,
little bit.
that's something you and I were chatting about too, because trying to fit all of this on one site plan as opposed to having a plat plan and then, you know, a site plan just showing utilities or whatever, trying to have everything on one
Matt, the
thing.
edge of your map.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
And
anyways.
I hear that, that's one of those it's a weird thing because it's one of those things that there's certain things that you have to have on it, like we ran into, this was issues where we had information that we needed, but it was in different places.
Yeah.
We had stuff that should have been on the plat,
Right,
on the plan and vice versa. And again, you know, I don't necessarily speak to whether or not it makes sense to cram all this on here, and to be
Right.
fair,
right.
this, I don't think really envisions what you're trying to do. It's envisioning a traditional subdivision that's spread out. and you can
Absolutely, and
actually
where
see
you
the
haven't
stuff.
actually built the buildings yet.
Yeah,
You haven't-
that's kind of what it's
Right.
more or less envisioning.
Right.
Tyler, is the requirement for screening of the parking area? I'm looking at the ordinance. I don't see that it's a must.
It is a must.
It is a
If it's in-
must.
If it's in this is kind of the weird thing we dealt with a little bit last time with Gary's stuff, which again, so again, it doesn't fit really great with residential plain unit developments, but if you go to, because it's a conditional use,
Oh, I
part
see.
of the conditional
Yeah, I
use
see that.
review sucks in part, not all of site plan review, it just pulls in part of it, which is weird in and of itself. But the specific thing it pulls in is landscaping and screenings. Landscaping and screening conditions, safeguards with respect to landscaping and screening include, but not limited to, so meaning is, it has to have these, it could have other stuff. But if you go down to number 2, it says provisions of a buffer zone that shall include vegetative screening to conceal outdoor storage or display areas, parking lots, or loading areas or other outdoor commercial or industrial uses from neighboring residences. And if you look here,
Sorry, Tyler, what section is that?
that is
5.53
5.5.3 B letter
Double I.
double I. And if you see here, there is a, parking lot, for lack of a better word, back here.
Mhm. And there is vegetation that you can see
Yeah,
that
and we can
covers
provide that.
most of it.
And you can, again, you can give credit
Yeah,
for existing landscaping. The question is whether or not that's not, and where this is really weird is that landscaping costs are typically based off of the cost of the project as it goes down to VII.
And the
minimum
co- And his
landscaping.
cost is almost nil.
Well, because it's been done, so that's,
His costs are basically the survey.
Well, this is
and
the-
engineering.
but the problem then becomes is, okay, how do we calculate that cost, right? Is it based
easy.
on
He
what
tells
the
us that-
original,
He tells us what he paid and we say, okay, that's what the.
but should it
percentage
be
is.
for the original?
I
For
don't
the
see-
original
I don't
construction?
see
of all
why
the
we should go
buildings?
back to the 1800s.
No, but that's again, that's something for you guys to consider,
Right.
right? That's not, it is a hard requirement.
And Matt, will you tell us that you do have landscaping around of some sort around the parking lot?
Yeah, I mean, there's a giant bush, as you can see,
Mhm.
located on the site plan there. Around the southwest side of the
Mhm.
parking lot, then obviously my building blocks it, then there's a huge maple tree. Maple and apple trees, and then Linda on the south, on the east side there, I think they're birch trees.
Are these herd trees? The
Yeah.
ones that you can kind of
Yeah.
see, they're on our property.
Yep, they're on
Well-
her property.
Maybe then a solution, and again, I'm not telling you guys what to do, is what you could do is
Yeah, you are.
provide a total cost of, have an arborister come down and say, what's the value of these trees? And go that way, so that way you satisfy
Or we could just,
BVI.
or we
We
could
can
just
just
make
bring-
that decision.
You guys can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we've dealt with that. Stormwater you've discussed.
Before we move on from 553.
Mhm.
So, I see where it says, including not limited to, but the first sentence of 553 is the DRB may impose conditions and safeguards upon approval of a site plan with respect to features authorized by the Act.
Mhm.
4416 as amended. So what is the act?
That
What are
is
those-
the
is-
legislative act that lets you, that authorizes you to do this type of review. So that's pulling from VSA 4416.
Yeah, so I guess I could read this two ways. One, all these things, we may do these things. And if we do these things, then we shall do
Well,
them
this is the
as
debate.
it's laid out, but I guess I'm not
So here's
convinced it's,
where this
if I
gets,
could finish, I'm not convinced it's, I'm not, yeah, I guess don't think it's clear, or it's not clear to me whether those things are required. That we can, it's clear we can impose those things, but it's not clear they're necessarily required.
so where we came up with this came up last time with Gary's, and to be fair, this is a newer kind of interpretation with this, because I always interpreted this to mean that these are things that you have to have with the review.
Mhm.
Now you could, so it's again, this is a limited list. Now you guys can choose to put more on it. But at a minimum, I've always viewed this as a minimum. Now, through consultation with Keith and our town attorney on this, and again, it is poorly worded. A is actually more optional, right? But what isn't optional is B, because what triggers that is the minimum landscaping cost down here. The minimum direct landscaping cost shall be at least equal to the total project construction cost multiplied by certain percentages per the below schedule.
But there is no construction, there is no
Well, this
project.
is the
That's
weird
the-
thing though,
that's
but you
the
have to
issue.
have landscaping with it as part of the project. To be fair, this is kind of like,
think
I
we're
don't
trying-
think this really ever envisions a roundabout, a backwards kind of PUD where you have the stuff built and now you're doing a PUD.
Well, I
It'd
think
be
the
it's,
back.
simpler, again, if, I'm literally going through this right now in Starksboro, the 2 townhouses we're building, and they have it. They have a minor subdivision process, which. That makes it much simpler, because all we're doing is we're building essentially a duplex, and then we're selling them as condos.
Mhm.
So it's not this, where you don't have to go through a whole planned unit development here. But I mean, I know it's a conversation for another time, but it's.
More of a.
You gotta wonder how to,
conversation.
all the revisions we've done that we haven't made room for that, but.
Yeah,
Easier,
we're
easier
busy.
said than done. It's a lot
Basically,
of
that's
work.
the only way to go about it, so this is how I have to separate ownership of the buildings currently.
so right now, there's common ownership in this lot.
All the buildings are commonly owned, all the buildings and lands are commonly owned by myself, my wife, and an irrevocable trust.
Right, and so what are you gonna do when you separate them, what are you gonna do with the ownership of the 3 units?
It's all gonna, we're gonna own the new construction home because we paid for it completely outright.
Okay, when you say you're gonna own it, are you gonna retitle it?
Yes,
So you're gonna convey those PUD units
yes.
to 3 other entities or
Well,
whatever.
only one will change. Basically, just the back house, that entity, 114 East Main Street will be conveyed to my wife and I, and then the front duplex will stay ownership in the trusts.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, and this is because I have, my background is not in Vermont law, but enlighten me, David, if we have a PUD like this and it has common ground, is there some kind of declaration?
Sure, well, usually when there's common area, then you have to, in the subdivision, you have an owners association that will provide maintenance and upkeep of the common area.
Correct.
Correct.
And that applies to a PUD as well as it does to any condominium.
Yes,
Correct?
yes.
And so do you have such an agreement?
we have, I sent you the HOA stuff.
I did not see that.
Yeah, it wasn't put online.
No, I sent it to you with here.
Let me see here.
So the HOA was.
Is it an unincorporated association?
Let me see here.
And,
So hold on a second.
and all the owners of each unit A and B are common owners of the common land.
Correct.
All right, but there is an agreement of some kind.
Yes.
Okay. So
I'm not sure if
I just didn't see
the
it.
engineer, he
I'm not sure if it's attached, because I went through.
It's not
yours
attached to the
and-
materials. I looked
Yeah, I
for
didn't
it.
see
and
it either.
his. Before I was putting the application materials. up,
Lord,
maybe I lost it in some
okay,
way.
I sent it to him and he sent you the application. I'm not sure why he didn't include.
Okay.
I'm gonna send. Let me send that to you.
Why,
right
why
now.
don't we make that a requirement for the final that you'll provide that to us?
I'm just gonna send it to him now, just so that he has it, because I know there has to be a final anyways, but I forget.
And does that homeowners association, are they responsible for maintenance and upkeep of the common land?
Yeah,
Okay.
There we
Yeah.
go. Okay.
yeah. I don't know if you guys wanna look over that right now.
No.
No. Okay.
I'm not seeing our next people on deck here.
Yeah, I was about to ask, cause this,
I'm
I
just
thought we
gonna,
had that appeal, right?
It's not an appeal, it's kind of it's a long story, but it's not,
I thought it was a highly contentious appeal. What are you
it
talking
is.
about?
well, it's,
Yeah, we were chatting about it.
Oh, the media out front.
Highly contentious issue.
What are we doing? I thought
That was the sign
I'm gonna
issue.
try and give him a
That's
call,
an appeal.
so like, I'll
This is
step
the
out.
change.
It's, yeah.
No, that's highly contentious.
Well, okay,
Well,
let's
we're gonna
finish
set a
here.
whole new precedent here.
Any other questions
We're
from the
not.
board for Matt?
No.
I'm sure it's shown on the site plan when I was looking sideways. I couldn't see
Pull up the site plan.
Yes, I guess.
where what's the delineation of the common land?
I'm sorry, what?
What is the remaining lands of the common land?
So right here, these are the delineations of the footprint lots, okay?
Oh, okay.
So that's that building. He gave a little bit more just so that like, if you want to plant like a bush, you can, and then if you go up here, the existing house kind of has that similar, see those dashed lines right there?
Yep.
And then unit 3 is remaining common land. So basically it's the 2 footprint lots and everything else is common land.
Okay. Thanks.
And we are not, there was some
Oh, the
confusion.
listeners are gonna have a great time with that.
What's that?
Listeners are gonna have a
Oh,
great time with
I
that.
know.
You really should go in and talk to them.
About this?
Yeah, and
Okay.
don't let them make decisions. You should be involved in their decision.
Gotcha. I understand that. I've had
I'll
to
tell you
do.
that from experience.
Yeah.
Who are you talking
Oh,
about?
is this Tom?
What's that?
Hey, Tom, this is Tyler Masha, this is planning and zoning.
Oh.
Are you planning on zooming into the meeting tonight? Your application.
I guess what's the final thing? There was some confusion about, I did not, the duplex up front is not being separated into individual units.
Right.
Okay. Alright,
Yeah, it's unit one only.
yeah. With two,
A and B, we don't care about that. They're
Yeah.
not separate units.
that's correct.
So this is kind of,
You sort of have to condominialize to do that.
Well, we
even go.
thought about doing that, but the real reason we ended up not doing it is the engineer slash surveyor didn't have time. I wanted to get this done, you know? My money's tied up in this building, it's half ownership, you know?
And those guys are out straight this summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we barely got this, you know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied, Patrick?
Yeah.
Roger?
I'm good.
Okay. Do we want to discuss this at deliberative session?
I
or
think
are we
briefly,
okay?
I think we do. I do.
You do? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to go into to
So moved.
close this part of the hearing and go into deliberative session. So moved.
Second,
Second.
You guys want me to step out
All
for
in
that?
favor? No.
Yeah, we do.
You will, but we have to get the other one.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure that out right now. So my apologies.
All in favor of
Oh, sorry.
this motion?
aye,
Aye. Okay.
Just
That
for-
we have 45 days to make a decision. We'll try to make it sooner,
Fair enough.
so you can get back in here and do a final.
15 minutes.
What-
So from the latest that I have at this point is that I guess there was a big conference and one person thought they were gonna be there and the other person thought they were gonna be there and nobody's here at the moment, so I'm
It's
trying
a
to
sign,
track
the
down.
sign issue.
Yeah, I'm trying to track down. So Matt, you can hop over here. Let me just.
So
see
the
here.
question is, do we want to hear it without, they filed an application, correct?
Oh, yeah, no, they have one.
So we could, that's their choice whether to show or not. We could just hear
Yeah,
it.
why don't we just decide?
I think
No.
so.
Yeah, hang on, let's-
any
You
chance
want
we
me
have to
try
do it
and
again?
Give them one call here. They don't have contact information.
I'd
for
say
them.
screw it.
We are being recorded.
It's, we are live.
Well, I don't see why we have to do that.
Do what?
I don't have, why we have to,
Wait?
why we have to wait?
I don't know that we do, but it just, I would hate to do it and
It's common courtesy.
then have it be some, whether we. It might change our mind.
We'd be spending good faith effort to involve them.
That's correct. I want them to appeal to.
Hey, just
Oh,
for
this-
reference, you guys just voted to go into deliberative session, so I did mute you and you're not live right now online. And so we would cut this part out unless you don't want that.
Weeks ago. I sent it to whatever.
Sorry, 1 second, it's a little hard to hear.
Notice,
I have no idea.
everything.
Wait a second,
Yeah,
Aaron.
it's on the Development Review Board page's website. You go to the agenda, it's embedded in the link. For the agenda, and you can see it there. Yep, see, it says join Zoom meeting. Yeah, I just got in touch with Tom. Yep, so if you go into, you see, open the agenda. Yeah, and then it should be right there. It's in a link. Yeah. And there's no waiting room. It's just a waiting room, so I should be able to just admit you. Okay, yeah, because I think Tom thought, yep, that's fine. Tom, I think thought Corey was gonna be on, so. And Corey's not, I don't have anybody else here, so. Okay, yep, that's fine.
So they're coming on.
Yeah, I just spoke to him.
Not what Aaron wants.
Aaron, what did you want?
Oh, I just wanted to say that you are actually already muted and blocked because you voted to go into deliberative session. So this part will be cut out unless you don't want that.
So Aaron, when we vote to go into deliberative session, that doesn't mean we're going in
Right,
immediately.
right.
We go in after all the applications for that night have been heard.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll leave this in. Hey, and then while I've got you, I just have a tiny question about how this section is labeled. But I think it's a Tyler question. Is he still on the phone?
I think he's in, he should be in right now, so he's here.
Okay.
Yep. Nope, take care.
Tyler, Aaron has a question. for
Yes,
you.
Aaron, I'm sorry.
Sorry, just a quick question about the title for the item 1. Parcel ID is EM0112, but then
That's
the location is 114.
That's correct.
Okay, just wanted to confirm that. Thanks.
It's a weird thing because I'm not gonna get too much into the details with it because the parent parcel is like 312. That's the original one. But it's kind of located, most of the subdivision is at 314. So
114.
114, excuse me. So it's kind of, it's a little weird.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to confirm it was right for when we put it on the video.
It's
Thank
a
you.
unique Situation, so.
314 be probably on top of the bridge. Seriously, right?
All right, so I think Hussein, can you hear us?
I can.
What would you like want me to pull anything up?
Let me swear you
Yeah,
in.
the what we submitted if you want, if you don't mind.
Yeah, hang on one second here.
Look-
Aaron, are we live still, or did you cancel, or did you?
We're
shut us
live,
off?
we're live.
You're live. I just had you muted and the video stopped for a moment, but you're live, so you're fine. Keep
Okay,
going.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure before we got.
So let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Are we ready?
Yep.
Why don't you explain what you're asking for from the board?
Okay, so as some of the board members might remember, we permitted this site probably over about a year and a half ago now. We came in with a freestanding sign. And at this time, my client would like to go in with LED price changers for the fuel in lieu of manual price changers. And as you can see on the plan that's in front of you, it's just the regular unleaded and the diesel. And they're just lit letters internally. You've probably seen it at the other gas station in town. Similar to that, it wouldn't be flashing. It is just for the fuel price. So we would like to, proceed with that. The rest of the sign would still be externally illuminated. Nothing changes on that. It's just that the fuel price units would be LED in lieu of the manual. And that's essentially what we're looking for from the board. And the reasoning is pretty much the entire industry is going into that. It's a safer type of system to change the price on the signs on the actual sign in lieu of having someone go into the driveway where any vehicle could come in at any moment. So we're looking at it for a safety reasons, and it's just safer in the winter months as well.
So are you aware that the third gas station in town, you referred to one, the other one has a sign that can be automatically changed and it is not internally illuminated?
I was not aware of that one. But again,
Yeah.
the LED is something that, if you go to other towns, a lot of the other, it's just a more efficient way to deal with it. And at night, we can't have internally illuminated. But at night, you see the price of the sign. I know the
And-
other. Yep,
And
go
our
ahead.
issue is that our ordinance strictly prohibits internally illuminated signs.
Again, so the price, I understand the sign. So we've dealt with this in other municipalities. A sign is advertising, a business. The price is mandated by the government, right? You have to show the price of your fuel. So it's really not considered a sign. It's more of a advisory, right? To let someone know about the price of the product that's being offered. So we're not trying to, LED, other mobiles might have the entire mobile you know, sign in LED as well. So we're not looking for that. It's just the price. So I know the, you know, the regulations prohibit internally illuminated signage. But again, you know, industry-wide, the price is not considered signage in other municipalities. So that's why some of the other municipalities have, you know, LED for the price. And I know that one business has it, and I know Tyler mentioned that it was, you know, it was done before he was there, so he's not sure how that kind of happened. But again, I don't think it's distracting to the motoring public. I know, I'm not sure what the intent of the regulation was, you know, to have them externally illuminated rather than internally.
We don't have neon.
Well, they did, yeah, I think originally they just didn't want big neon signs.
Right, right. And I get that, right?
That was-
You
that
know,
was-
in
that was
bigger
big
cities,
LEDs came into play.
that was before, I'm sorry?
That was before LEDs were even invented.
Correct. Like we do a lot of retail development as well in bigger cities. I understand that, you know, the sign pollution, right? Every big, huge sign has internally illuminated, you know, 32 square feet of signage, which, you know, I get it. And that's not what we're trying to get. It would just be the letters that would be LED illuminated. So it's not even, you know, the LED lighting is a different type of lighting.
How tall are those numerical figures?
The numerical,
Yeah.
let's see.
What's their dimension?
So their entire sign, that portion of the sign is 26.
I can see that, but how tall are the
About a
numerical
third
portion?
of the size.
9.5 inches,
Yeah,
I believe, 9.5 minimum window. Just looking, sorry, I'm looking at my phone. I'm sorry, I'm in Las Vegas at a trade show for the fueling industry.
Isn't it 9.5?
I think it's about 9.5 by
22.
22.6 is the width, yeah.
Okay.
And it's 8-inch digits, so it's 8-inch digits.
Okay,
The window itself is 9.5, but the digits themselves are 8 inches high.
that's fine.
What's the board feel? Or do you want to discuss it in deliberative session?
Yeah, I think discussing it
Yeah.
makes sense. I think it's pretty, I think the request is clear. I don't have any questions, but
Do you have anybody have any more questions of the applicant?
You know,
Does the applicant have anything further you want to say?
Nope, I can answer any questions that the board would have.
Yeah, we don't seem to have any.
You don't seem to have any, okay.
So I think everyone understands the issue. I guess I'd entertain a motion to close this part of the hearing and go into deliberative session.
so moved.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna close the hearing and we're gonna go into deliberative session. We have 45 days to make a decision. We'll try to make it much sooner than that. And
Okay.
we'll be back to you.
Okay, I appreciate you guys accommodating me. I'm sorry about the lateness.
No problem.
One
the meeting.
question, looks like you're getting ready to pave. Is that the last thing to do before you guys open?
Pretty much. They're getting ready to pave, and then they would, you know, commission the fuel system.
who's the restaurant?
And I think they're you know, internally they're putting everything in the convenience store as well.
Who's gonna operate the restaurant part, the food part?
I think it would be operated by Summit. Again, I'm not too sure, but he usually operates whatever, you know, whatever he's selling in the store, they typically operate it.
Okay. Appreciate you coming and showing up. Have fun in Vegas.
All right, thank you guys.
You.
Have a good night. Thank you.
So do we have anything else that we have to discuss?
Not on the record, though.
No, okay. I'd entertain a motion to go into deliberative session.
So move. Yep.
Second, all in favor?
Move it.
Aye.
Okay, Aaron, we're gonna go into deliberative session now.